I'm all right. Welcome back. We got James Wilhite here this morning in the studio. We're getting an update on our fun Green Thumb efforts last week.
Yeah. So I thought we would spend the month of January talking about vegetable gardening, and last week we were talking about getting your vegetables started and how to kind of propagate them and get them ready to transplant. And we did some transplanting of these little spinach plants last week, and if you'll notice, and remember, we just plucked them right out and put them right in the new soil. They didn't mind a bit, and we've got new growth going on, and that's just what we would expect. And the idea is that we can grow these off and get them a little quicker so that when we go into the garden with them, we have something more than just a little seedling, which is what we have next door there. Now those we seeded last week, and again they've sprouted, which is what we would expect, and within a week or two they're going to be ready to transplant, and they'll be much like these, so we'll have a larger plant. It gives us an opportunity to get ahead of the weather so that our garden is more productive quicker and we get a little better harvest out of it. Now this week, just a reminder, onions and potatoes. We're just about at the right time. You'll start seeing those. Typically we use Valentine's Day. Don't know why we think of our Valentines when we think of onions and potatoes, but we do. So that's really kind of the time you need to get those in by. I like to get mine in a little earlier if I can, and again, you're just now seeing those ready. Next week we'll talk more about how to plant an onion, but today I wanted to discuss a little bit more about potatoes. Now, I like to save my potatoes back. The dinks and the ones that I'm not going to eat are those that start sprouting, and I just save them, and you can see they kind of sprout themselves. And I'll go out to the garden and plant this in the garden. Now typically I don't even cut my potatoes, or at least one that small, and it's sprouted and ready to go, so I plant it in a row, and then as the season goes on I keep putting more soil around it so that I bury the potato about this deep to start. And then as time goes on, I put more and more soil around it, and we develop a nice group of potatoes, and we'll get 12 or 14 potatoes off of this one potato. Now oftentimes people buy the seed potatoes, which don't have any sprouts on them, and then they cut those, and you've seen people do those a lot, and then we lay them out in the air and allow that to dry and callus before we plant it. Then we just simply plant that in the garden, and we get more potatoes. Now the idea behind cutting a potato is you can get more potatoes out of each potato than just one plant if you cut and get the eyes out of them. So each one has a little spot. You can see those, they're pretty easily identified. If you looked close you would see them around the potato. It's called the potato eye, and that's what sprouted here was the eye. And we can get several potatoes out of that. So it's spring gardening season. It's about that time. Start looking right now because you're going to find potatoes in the nurseries. I'm not talking about a potato from the supermarket, but a potato from the nursery. Onions are available, and we'll discuss more about that next week.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, James.
You bet.